Good morning, UCV. Aloka teaches us this week that the monks walk, not travel. They do not rush to arrive. They do not treat the road as an obstacle between here and there. Each step is a prayer, each mile a meditation. Their walking is not about efficiency. It is about presence. It is about the way they move through the world. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." A kiss is not forceful. It is not hurried. It is a gesture of tenderness, of relationship, of reverence. Imagine if our whole lives were shaped by this kind of movement. Paraphrasing Matthew 20, Jesus gathers his disciples and says, "You know that the rulers of the nations lord it over them, but it shall not be so among you. Whoever wishes to be great must be a servant." Jesus is not only redefining greatness, he is redefining movement. Domination moves over people. Service moves with people. Domination rushes, pushes, forces, demands. Service listens, attends, responds, adapts. Jesus is teaching that peace is not something we impose. Peace is something we enact, step by step, choice by choice, relationship by relationship. Long before he became the Buddha of our era, Gautama lived a life as Sumita, a wealthy young man who renounced everything to become an ascetic. He lived in the forest, cultivating deep compassion and clarity. One day, Sumita learned that the Buddha of that age, Dipankara Buddha, was coming to his region. The people rushed to prepare the road, smoothing the path so that the Buddha could walk without obstruction. But a muddy stretch remained unfinished. Sumita saw the mud, saw the approaching Buddha, and made a choice. He lay his own body down across the muddy ground, offering himself as a bridge so the Buddha and the monks could pass without soiling their feet. It is a moment that resonates across traditions. Just as the crowds later laid their cloaks on the road for Jesus' donkey, softening the path, honoring the one who came in peace, Sumita offered his very own body as the ground of welcome. Both gestures are acts of reverence expressed not in words, but in movement, in posture, in the willingness to lower oneself so that another may pass unhindered. As Dipankara Buddha stepped across Sumita's back, he paused and proclaimed that Sumita would one day become a Buddha himself, not because of ambition, not because of achievement, but because of the way he moved, with self-giving compassion, with grounded presence, with a willingness to serve rather than dominate. Sumita teaches us that peace is not an idea. Peace is something we do with our bodies. In Buddhism, the central ethical and spiritual framework is called the Noble Eightfold Path, and it's called a path intentionally. It is not a set of beliefs to memorize or doctrines to assent to. It is a way of walking through the world. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Each one is a step. Each one is practiced in motion. Each one is lived, embodied, and enacted. A path is something you move along. A path is something you return to. A path is something you walk your whole life. The Eightfold Path reminds us that peace is not a static state. Peace is a way of moving again and again, moment by moment. Reality is made of unfolding moments. Each one is shaped by the choices we make. Peace is not a fixed state we achieve once and for all. Peace is a pattern of becoming. Every moment offers a fresh possibility to soften instead of harden, to listen instead of react, to move gently instead of forcefully, to choose connection instead of fear. Peace is not a theory, it is a posture, not a belief, but a way of moving through the world. In the Ruru Jataka, the Bodhisattva is born as a radiant deer king whose movements are so gentle that even the grass bends willingly beneath his hooves. One night, he hears a human crying out from the river, someone drowning. Without hesitation, the deer king slips into the water, lifts the man onto his back, and carries him to safety. Before leaving, he asks one thing: "Do not reveal me to the king, for he hunts all deer." The man promises. But later, tempted by reward, he betrays the deer king's trust. When the king arrives with hunters, the deer king does not flee. He does not defend himself. He does not argue his innocence or condemn the one who betrayed him. Instead, he steps forward, calm, steady, unafraid, and speaks with such compassion that the king is moved. The hunt is ended, the forest is spared. There is a quiet echo here of Jesus standing before Pilate, refusing to defend himself, refusing to match accusation with accusation, refusing to let fear or betrayal dictate his movement. Both the deer king and Jesus reveal a strength that does not rely on force, a courage that does not require retaliation. Their stillness becomes its own kind of truth-telling. The deer king's gentleness changes the world around him. His presence opens a different future. His way of moving becomes a form of peace. So let's bring this down to earth, into our bodies, our relationships, our community. Walking peacefully might look like taking a breath before responding to someone who frustrates you, slowing your pace when someone else needs more time, choosing curiosity instead of defensiveness, letting go of the need to win an argument, offering help without needing recognition, remembering that every person you meet is carrying something heavy. These are small choices, but small choices are never really small, now are they? They ripple, they accumulate, they shape the world. Peace is not built in grand gestures. Peace is built in the way we move. As we continue our Lenten journey with Aloka, with Jesus, with the wisdom of the Buddhist tradition, we are invited to pay attention to our steps, not just our literal steps, but the steps of our choices, our conversations, our reactions, and our habits. Ask yourself, how am I moving through this moment? Am I rushing, pushing, forcing? Or am I moving with presence, with gentleness, with awareness? What would it feel like to kiss the earth with the next step I take? Peace is not something we wait for. Peace is something we practice. Peace is something we embody. Peace is a way of moving. Amen.